Hey everybody, Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick comparison between the Microsoft Surface Pro 2 and the Lenovo Yoga Pro 2. Now these are two very similar Ultrabooks, even though they look nothing alike. In fact, right now you're looking at a tablet on the left and what looks to be a traditional Ultrabook on the right. 13.3-inch display here on this device, which has an incredibly high resolution, 3200 by 1800, so clearly way above and beyond what's offered in the Surface Pro 2, which is giving you a 10.6-inch 1080p display. Still one of the best in its form, no question about it, one of the best displays on a tablet that I've ever seen. But of course, form factor not even remotely similar. But let's talk about what is. Both of these are running Windows 8.1, so your experience in terms of the actual operating system and the fact that both of these are touchscreen, even though, of course, the Lenovo does have a keyboard built in, which is a big difference between it and the Surface Pro 2, because the Pro 2 has an optional touch or type magnetic keyboard, but of course here you're getting a full-sized, pretty much keyboard experience with a touchpad also, which is not going to be matched by the type or touch cover. So that's something to take into consideration beyond just the actual screen size and screen resolution. And I can tell you right now that the screen on the Lenovo Yoga Pro 2 is fantastic. It does have its quality control issues, which I've mentioned in a previous update. Whether it's dead pixels or backlight bleed, there's no question. Quality control far superior from Microsoft. But if you're looking for a more complete experience that isn't more about the tablet being a form factor and it being a marvel of computing, which is what the Surface Pro 2 really represents, and you're really more interested in a machine that is like a laptop but has a lot more flexibility, that's what the Yoga 2 really has to offer. You know, it looks like a traditional Ultrabook, but as we all know at this point, from the first generation Yoga now to this one, you get a device that has a completely rotating 360 degree display. It deactivates the keyboard so that when it's in tablet mode, you won't accidentally control anything from the keyboard side of things. Overall, again, that resolution and the screen is just fantastic. I mean, as I said just a moment ago, as long as you can live with the possibility of some dead pixels that you probably won't even notice, likely because of the fact that this does carry the highest pixel density of any laptop on the market right now, Ultrabook, tablet, you name it, I'm pretty sure. That ends up equating to just one of the best visual experiences you're going to get. But I have seen instances where it also works against you because it does make some things microscopic. Scale is always relevant. That's one area where the Surface Pro 2 and Surface 2 have improved. But with this new resolution that a lot of manufacturers are embracing, that newfound territory also comes with some hitches, some issues. And scaling and things becoming microscopic because of the resolution is one of them that I have noticed. Not frequently, but it will occur. So also in terms of other form factors for this, you've got tent mode. Essentially, you're looking at it right there. You also have a presentation mode, which is basically setting it up like this and allowing someone to watch it, tabletop mode basically. So all of these things come as part of the value of the entire Lenovo Yoga Pro 2. This is really a lot of hardware. The build quality does not stand up to what's presented in the Pro 2 in no shape or form. I mean, we've got something that is really quite impressive in terms of everything that the package the Surface Pro 2 represents in terms of hardware, software. The pen input is best in class, unmatched in the industry. That's not something you have with the Yoga. But if you're going for a traditional computing experience, the Yoga is still going to give you the superior experience, in my opinion, especially because of that larger display. The 10.6-inch display is one of those issues or areas, I should say, that is a make it or break it feature for many users. For a traditional computing experience, 10.6 is a bit difficult in my personal opinion. I think most will agree. And there's no question that the Surface Pro 2 is a better Ultrabook or laptop replacement, especially competing directly with the Yoga line, specifically here the Yoga Pro 2. There's no question that in that screen size, it's less appealing. I think a lot of people hope that Microsoft releases a larger version of the Surface Pro. I know I certainly would welcome it. Other manufacturers are going to make or already have started manufacturing things like Sony with the Tab 11. So it'd be nice to see some larger screen and profile devices. After all, this is £2. The Yoga Pro 2 is £3, but for that extra pound, look at what you gain. Yes, you don't have the build quality that Microsoft brings to the table, but you do get a far more fully functioning device on its own, at least, without any accessories needed. And part of that also comes down to the actual physical form factor. You've got more USB ports here, a full-size SD card slot. It does ironically have micro HDMI out, which is the output for video on the Surface 2. DisplayPort is still used on the Surface Pro 2, and DisplayPort definitely can be argued is the superior output format, but it's really a matter of personal preference. But you do get an additional USB port. I would have liked to have seen more on the Yoga Pro 2, simply because, I mean, it is a relatively large device, but it is all plastic. You're not getting the, the texture, the build quality, as I keep reiterating, that you're getting from Microsoft. And that's to be expected. This is about durability and value rather than really being a piece of technological art, which is what Microsoft was going for with the Surface line. Now, again, price point is what really makes these two so comparable, and I didn't state that at the beginning of the video, but anyone who's searched this, who's interested in comparing the Surface Pro 2 to the Yoga Pro 2, knows it's all about the price point. $1,000 for both of these. They each have the same Core i5 Haswell low-voltage processor. They both have the same HD 4400 graphics solution. They both have 128 gig SSD, 4 gigs of RAM. So they're extraordinarily similar when it comes to specifications. Clearly, the big difference that I already pointed out is that you get that 13.3-inch 3200 by 1800 display, which that to me is really what should be the deciding factor for anybody trying to choose between the Surface Pro 2 and the Yoga Pro 2. And it should be really obvious to you. I mean, you either want or must have this display with this brand new, what is becoming standard high resolution, or you really are after the coolness factor, the portability factor of having everything that the Yoga Pro 2 embodies in the palm of your hand, because that's what the Surface Pro 2 now allows, especially since you can go up to the i7 configuration, which affords 8 gigs of RAM and 256 or 512 in SSD capacities. Only micro SD card slot here for storage expansion, limited to one USB 3.0 port. I mean, these are very different devices. There's no question about it. But overall, everyone is going to be drawn to compare these. Clearly, more expensive here on the left with Surface Pro 2, because once you pick up a type or touch cover, that's well over another $100 plus tax in order to get a backlit keyboard, which most will still argue or prefer, I should say, the actual physical one that you're going to get with the Yoga Pro 2. So really, this doesn't boil down to which is better, because in reality, these really shouldn't draw as much comparison as they currently are. The reason that they do, again, is price point and specifications. It's all about the fact that they are a mirror image of interior guts for the most part. But the big added value here, of course, is the digitizer. If you have no interest in the digitizer, then I don't even know why you'd really consider Surface Pro 2, because you're paying an extreme premium for the form factor and pen input. If you're just looking for an Ultrabook with great specifications and versatility that's a value, that's exactly what the Yoga Pro 2 is. Yes, as I've mentioned half a dozen, maybe a dozen times through the course of this video, the build quality isn't what Microsoft puts together, and it shouldn't be. This is a less expensive device, even though these are both $1,000 right now, both brand new, fresh to the marketplace. I activated that accidentally. The point is still the same, which is that the digitizer experience alone and the actual R&D required to put this together costs far more than what Lenovo had to put together just to come up with a hinge design that allowed for the screen to rotate a full 360 degrees. I'm not knocking Lenovo's design here with the Yoga Pro 2 or the original Yoga. It's a cool design, but nowhere nearly an impressive feat as cramming everything you see here on the right into a tablet form. And I wouldn't be surprised if in the next version, Surface Pro 3, if we don't see yet another higher resolution panel, much like what we've now seen the standard move to in Ultrabooks and laptops with 13 and 13 plus inch displays. So really, they're very different, even though they share the same price point and specifications. Completely different animals, both great machines. I highly recommend both of them. Of course, again, the more expensive option is the Surface Pro 2, unless you're going to use a USB keyboard that you already have or a Bluetooth keyboard. In that case, then they are still on par on price point, but clearly more value in the right on the Lenovo with extra screen real estate, resolution, keyboard, and flexibility with all the different modes, even though I think most people consider those modes a gimmick. The reality is that you are getting an Ultrabook. In terms of battery life, you are looking at a very close draw here. They both get over 6 hours of what I would consider intensive use. If you really try to maximize battery life, you can get closer to 7 to 8, but they're very close. So that's another good reason to compare them directly. You're not going to get 10 hours out of either of these, so don't get your hopes up with that regard. But again, the more complete computing experience does come from the Yoga Pro 2. I'm not going to argue that in any form or fashion. Really like the display, but again, if you want that incredible feat of having a full-fledged computer in the form of a tablet, the Surface Pro 2 stands alone. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. And of course, as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.